So I've mixed my resin for 3 or 4 minutes, just changed it to another cup and mixed it for another several minutes. And I've got approximately 10 to 12 ounces, which is probably way more than I need for this. And this is a vinyl record, and I didn't record the painting, but I put gesso on it, hot glue with gesso, and then I just used regular acrylic paints and did a little bit of that, so it may or may not show through much because the resin is going to be tinted and that kind of stuff, but I'm hoping a little bit of it shows through. So when you mix a larger portion of resin, you want to make sure and go ahead and put it into smaller containers, because if you leave it in one large container like this, it'll heat up and really start doing its thing really too soon. This is pigment paste, dragon scale. I'm gonna scrape it off this container here, the sealer of the container. See if I can get a lot of that off. I'm very messy with resin. It's not a pretty sight around here when I do resin. I drip and I just make a mess. So I'm going to stir in just that little tiny bit because I do want it kind of transparent. And so that little tiny bit may be enough right there. I do want to add a little bit of this. It's Delta Ceramcoat Glitter Explosion Tropical, and I'm going to put just a little squirt in. I don't think you want more than 10% of that as opposed to what's in your resin. Your resin needs to be the good percentage of it. And I think I'll throw in a little bit of this silver glitter just for the fun of it. Okay, and I'm pretty sure that's going to go on the outskirts there. I've got some crystals. I'm going to add a little bit more in here. I really have no clue how much I need because this is not a standard mold kind of thing. And I'm going to put a little resin into this. And I've got some of that glitter, same glitter, and mixed in with this crushed glass. And this just makes it kind of like a gooey paste, kind of holds your crystals together, and it might make it easier for me to kind of work with these with some glitter and resin and all mixed in. I kind of plan on doing that around the outside edge, around here. I want some resin that's going to be just pearl, so I'm going to put a little bit, maybe about an ounce in this cup. This may be a little more than an ounce. And I'm going to use PearlEx Micro Pearl. So that would be a pearly white. I had these straight sticks that I don't really use with acrylic pouring. I thought these would be good for my resin. And then I want some silvery gray. So I've got about 1.5 ounces or so, and I want to put just a little tiny bit of this, and it's antique silver, PearlEx, just a little tiny bit. I don't know how dark that is, so I'm just going to mix it in. And that actually looks pretty good, but I want to throw a little bit of this pewter, which is by Deco Art, just a little bit in. So I'm going to just put a little bit on my stick here. Put that into the mixture. And that looks pretty good. I also had macro pearl. There's a macro and a micro, and I don't know what the difference is, but one's smaller than the other, more fine, I guess. I want to add a little bit of that in here. I was hoping it might lighten it. Ever so slightly. So that'll be my silvery charcoal color, and that was PearlEx. I want gold, so I'm going to put a couple ounces of gold. Now to that I'm going to add this holographic gold glitter, which is just beautiful. So I'm going to take my stick that just had some paint on it, just use the other end. So I'm just mixing that glitter straight into the resin, so it's clear but it has that shimmer, and I like that. And I want to put just a flake or so of gold leaf, not much. This gold leaf really goes a long way. It doesn't weigh anything, and I have used it over and over again, and I've not even made a dent in the container. It's in my Amazon recommendations link. So just letting that kind of break up into little pieces into my clear. And in these cups I can feel it heating up. It's getting warm. So I think that will do it for the colors I'm mixing for now. And then I'll have clear left if I want to pour it anywhere, and what I have may be too much for what I need to put down. I'm not even sure. So my thought process is I'll go ahead and stick this I may use a spoon here. I want it just along the edges. But just a thin layer, because I'm going to be putting numbers. This is going to be a clock. And I don't want this to be in the way of where I need to put my numbers. So that's why I want to kind of spread it out in a thin ring. But I want it to kind of be a barrier too. To kind of help hold my resin on the record. Okay, so it has sat overnight, and I can remove this baby. So it was on a vinyl record, and it's like much thicker now because of all the resin. And that final pour of resin was probably at least 6 or 7 ounces on top to kind of seal in all those layers and lines and stuff. This is my first, kind of geode attempt. I didn't want crystals in the middle because of the clockwork arms, and I'll have to drill through the hole to get to the hole where we can put the mechanisms through it. But I set the letters in before the resin totally was set up so that they would not move or shift later, so they're set in permanently. I'm pretty excited about this. And I had put a piece of contact paper on the back instead of tape because it was round. Let me just move this out of the way. These are fun to peel up anytime you have resin on something. It's always fun to peel up because you always never know what you're going to find. If something looks really interesting, or because it was on a not shiny surface, the resin is always going to be matte against whatever surface it is unless it's a shiny surface. So just to show you that. But yeah, these cups that are sealed in with this resin around them. But there's always sticky residue from resin, so I like to get it out of the way. So on the back side, you always tape the back side of anything you're resining because of the drips like this. And I'm going to see if I can get the contact paper to start. This might be, yeah, there it goes. For the most part, that worked pretty good. I've got a few little pieces I've got to get off. You can also heat that. Just helps the layer kind of soften up a bit to make it a little easier to pull it away. Or if you had tape, the same difference with tape. And I had taped center hole just so that the resin and stuff would not soak through. And I'll probably end up painting the back of this, or even possibly putting a piece of nice finishing paper, or even felt, like black felt or something, just to pretty up the back a little bit. But we'll drill the hole through and attach the clock mechanism with the hands, and it will be ready to TikTok. So I'm really pleased. So let me show you something too. I had a little leftover resin on the first round when I was putting all the colors together. I had some clear resin left, and I thought, oh, I'll coat a few coasters. Well, because the resin had been setting there for quite a while, it had heated up and was, you know, really thick and syrupy. And this is what happens when your resin sits too long. I poured it on the tile, and literally you cannot move that sucker even if you heat it. So it didn't even go to the edges. So I probably almost ruined this. I'm going to try to tape it off and really put on a thick coat and see if I can salvage this. But just to show you that with resin, you've got to really work with it under a certain time frame, or it will thicken up on you and turn to a very thick, syrupy, heated reaction, and it's impossible to move. So you've got to learn to work with resin really kind of quickly. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I had a blast doing something a little bit different, and I'm looking forward to finishing this clock and sending a picture to the client to get her approval. I will see you on the next video. Please give me a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already. Please share with your friends. I would love for you to share my channel. Come join my Facebook group. Follow me on Instagram. All those good things. Make sure to help me out by following. And the way that I get any revenue on my YouTube channel is actually for you to watch the ads. You don't have to do anything with the ads, but if you watch them, I get a little tiny percentage of the revenue that they make on their ads. It's kind of like they run commercials on TV. So that's the way YouTube is. I don't get revenue or any kind of money from Google, which is who owns YouTube, unless somebody watches an ad on my video. It's not on my likes or comments. It's based on who watches the ads. So if you didn't know that, please share that with your friends. And for the people that you do subscribe to and follow on YouTube, just remember that the way to help support them by any financial means, besides contributing to a PayPal account or something like that, which we always appreciate, is to, you know, watch an ad. Just let it roll on by, and then it'll go back to the video, and you can continue on with the video if you have that extra time. We greatly appreciate it. So hugs, love you all. See you on the next video. Bye bye.